Welcome back to Deb's True Crime Notebook. We have an update for you. At 9:07 a.m., Brad Rosie stated, "Your Honor, the defense rests." The defense convened to discuss the instructions privately and returned to the courtroom around 9:50 a.m., where complete silence awaited them. McClellan noted that the state had no objections to the proposed instructions. However, Prosecutor Andrew Baldwin highlighted the instruction regarding Richard Allen's potential testimony. The guidelines instructing jurors against making inferences from a lack of testimony were different from previous ones he had encountered, but he accepts the modified language. Rosie requested until the afternoon to finalize instructions regarding jurors assessing the credibility of Allen's incriminating statements, whether they were made voluntarily or involuntarily. Gull indicated her intention to provide the jurors with instructions prior to closing statements and mentioned that she would limit the argument duration to 2 to 2.5 hours. 2 hours is quite a stretch for everyone sitting in these uncomfortable chairs, Gull remarked. The judge also informed the attorneys that if they exceeded the allotted time, she would kindly ask them to stop. Court was recessed at 10 a.m. The next phase of the trial will involve closing arguments from both the prosecution and the defense, after which the jury will deliberate to reach their final decision. And believe it or not, that's the conclusion of the case against and for the innocence of Richard Allen. So let's do a final recap, starting with a correction that I'd like to make. In yesterday's video, I believe it was, there was a entry where I talked about someone in the courtroom, in the jury, yelling out, "Let him finish talking." And through digging and talking to various other people, it actually was not a jury member. It was Brad Rosie, a member of the defense team, who did yell that out. Now, I can imagine that the tension is pretty high in that courtroom. So he was yelling out in response to the prosecution continuing to object and wanting the person on the actual stand to just say yes or no and not give some long drawn-out explanation. So I wanted to clear that up. I'd also like to discuss the headphone issue that was brought out by the defense's expert witness yesterday. I have to admit that had me puzzled. I was remembering what was on the list of things that were taken from the crime scene. Headphones was not one of those things. And that was puzzling to me. Where would the headphones come from? You know, at first I thought maybe whoever the killer was did plug in the headphones to listen and see what was on that recording and felt they couldn't see anything or hear anything that was incriminating. Then I started thinking about what would cause a phone to give a false report like that. And so I started looking it up on, you guessed it, Google. And Google is one of the things that the prosecution's expert witness talked about, that during the brief recess, he just Googled it to see if there was any information about phantom reports from phones saying that there were headphones plugged in to iPhones when there weren't. And so here's what I found. I found numerous reports, and I posted a few of them up here, where people complaining that iPhone 7 charging port thinks that my headphones are plugged in. iPhone thinks headphones are plugged in. Another one, my phone shows headphones are plugged in when they're not. The phone doesn't detect the earphones when they are plugged in. Why is my phone saying it's connected to headphones when it's not? How do I test an iPhone port? Why does it say my headphones are plugged in when they aren't? Why is my phone charging port acting weird? My phone shows headphones plugged in, but I never use regular headphones. I always use iPhone headphones that plug into my charge port. Here's another one. I think iPhone thinks headphones are plugged in when they're not. How do I fix this? It looks like this is a common occurrence with the iPhone. So it could have nothing to do with the possibility that the phone got wet or something got in the port. It could be something that just was an issue with the iPhone. Then again, it could also be that piece of dirt, lint, water, mud, or any other element got into that phone when the girls were crossing the creek. It makes sense that it could be water, which would also account for why the phone then popped on at 5-something in the or 4-something in the morning, whatever time it was, because the phone could have dried out by then. So that's some possibilities. I'd like to hear what you guys think and do a little digging and research yourself. I mean, it doesn't take but a minute. Just type it in and see what happens. So the prosecution is set to make its rebuttal today. They're just waiting on a witness to arrive in court, and it is said that the rebuttal could wrap up as early as the lunch break. The prosecution and defense will deliver their closing arguments on Thursday, setting the stage for the case to go to the jury. Each side will get 2 and 2.5 hours to deliver closing arguments. The defense showed many videos of Alan being treated in a negative way in prison. And I think that the state is going to go back and pull those videos again, and they're going to show what was going on with Alan's behavior before and after those incidents that were shown to the jury. I think it's highly probable that they will call Brian Harshman back to the stand in the rebuttal. He's the Indiana State Police officer that was assigned to listen to all of Richard Allen's audio and video. I would also expect the prosecution in their rebuttal to bring up phone calls made with Kathy Allen by Richard Allen and what his demeanor and the conversations were like before the point in which he confessed to her multiple times, and also to that same effect, what his demeanor was like before he confessed to his mother, saying, "Why would I say I did it if I didn't?" I am surprised that Kathy Allen did not testify. We've been told earlier that she would testify along with her daughter and Richard's sister, which Richard's sister and his daughter did testify very briefly to whether or not he had molested them, in which they both said no, he did not, and they both said that they did love Richard. Now, I want to make that clear because there's been some confusion about that as well. Some YouTubers were saying that Kathy Allen and Richard Allen's daughter did not say that she loved her father, or that she said she did not love her father. That is incorrect. She was asked if she loved her father. She replied yes. So that's basically a few of the things I wanted to straighten out, go over, and my thoughts on what the prosecution may talk about during the rebuttal. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more. Those are things that come to mind right now. We'll see you this afternoon for more updates in the Richard Allen trial. This is day 17. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell for all notifications. Leave us a message. Let us know what you think the prosecution will talk about or should talk about during the rebuttal. And also share this with your friends and in your groups. We'll see you this afternoon.